Hello, I'm John Geist, the Director of Facilities for the school district. We want to give you an update on the HVAC system at the high school. There's been since I've been here, there's been a lot of talk about that, a lot of finger pointing about who's responsible for what, but we, at the time, commissioning was considered, for this project, was a very expensive, $500,000 range is what I've been told. And the district decided not to do that at that time. So when I came in, it was good for me to get an idea of what is going on. So in July, I think it was in July, you guys approved doing a retro commissioning of the system out there at the high school. So that was, Kinetic Services was hired to, they brought in the AON units, the rooftop units. There's 20 large rooftop units on high school, which is the main components, but there's several other parts of the system that all work together. So the AON units, there's a company out of Wichita that is the certified representative for that system. So they came down, and then the CNC group is the control system that does the graphics. So we have a computer that controls the whole system in the school. And so we brought all those guys together, and they each sat down, they brought up each unit, they started up each unit. Well, let me back up a little bit. I did go back and verify that the district did, or that the project did do startup on each of the units. It just wasn't fully done to where they turned the paperwork back into the manufacturers for warranty purposes. Basically what that boils down to.
So, if I can ask a question, there was startup, but it wasn't factory startup, or
That's
was
right.
factory?
It was factory startup, but the paperwork was not put, given back to the factory for them to have into their system. That's correct. So, sorry, that's going off this sheet here. So we did find out that this was done, but just not the way that would have been great for us. So during the first 4 years of the building being operated, we had large issues with the air handler units, just the comfort of the building itself. I think our guys reacted to coming in if we were getting hot colds, making sure the boiler was working, getting cold calls, or vice versa. Hot calls, making sure the chiller's running, and cold calls, making sure the boilers are running. And that was quick checks that we could do right offhand. Like I say, there's lots of moving parts that go along with the system that all work together. So this is what, that's what this group was determining for us.
Could I ask another quick question?
Yes, sir.
Please do. Okay. We spent so much on those systems, and I understand that it's a whole lot more to do this sort of Cadillac startup. But on the factory startup and then the paperwork for warranty, did we have in the construction contract a requirement that we have warranty of the information or of the equipment?
Everything would come with, most of these projects would come with a year warranty. They would, the manufacturer would put a year warranty on it. I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure about that. I think that this warranty would have taken it out possibly longer than that. I'm not even 100% sure what that would have been. But that was not done. So the paperwork was not submitted to the factory. So they have no record of it, therefore they can't provide basically. But I'm thinking it was a good thing because a lot of this stuff would have been working right at first. And so after this 4 years, the stuff started not working. So when we did this commissioning, the things that we found as they went through this equipment was amazing. I mean, stuff that is broken and not working and causing our energy costs to be out the roof. So it wasn't a bad thing. So that's what you need to keep in mind is that it's not your typical system that you have in a house. You got 3 units basically at your home. Your outside unit, your inside unit, and a thermostat. And everybody's happy. You should set that thermostat where you want it, and everybody's thrilled to death. Well, the school is totally different. So you have sensors throughout the building that's calling for more air, less air. A lot of those sensors aren't working. A lot of the stuff they found when they were up there, they were able to fix some of the stuff while they were in there. Micro switches, belts that they noticed were off. So they found a lot of good things. It was a really good, thorough report. I think each of you have a copy of the report there. We do have, like I say, the graphics on the system, the computer that controls this thing. We do have that in place. It tells us a lot. It actually shows you that the motors are turning, that the equipment is working properly, but we don't have somebody sitting there all day long that knows the building schedule, knows those schedules get changed on a daily basis. So basically everything's just running from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, full speed, basically. So our system has the capability of reacting to the different schedules of the building. So if nothing's going on, this in high school it's not very common, but if we have a day where everybody's gone at 5 o'clock, we can start shutting things down at 5 o'clock. That really doesn't happen at that building, but it does have that capability. But it would require somebody to spend much more time than what we have available to do that. So that monitoring system it does throw out alerts and stuff, but it's not going to, for instance, there was one of the wheels that I sent pictures with that, one of the wheels they showed, it was obvious it hasn't rotated a lot since it was installed. And but the graphics show that this thing is turning. This wheel it's recovery, energy recovery. So this wheel is taking the exhausted air out of the building, and instead of bringing in 100-degree weather to condition, it's taking this 78-degree air coming out of the building and recycling it back into the building for energy savings. And that thing hasn't worked for quite a while. So these things that they're finding, the things that we're proposing that they go ahead and repair are going to significantly increase the efficiency of this unit. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to see some great results from this. But this is kind of a first phase to this, because this is going to let us know what it is that we're dealing with at this time. So it has been completed there. Deficiencies were identified, many were repaired, and the documentation of what we want to do next year is in your notes there also. The immediate recommendations are that were the repairs that they noticed on each unit, and they've identified it like each air enter unit or energy recovery in your notes there. And I was amazed at this cost, because I was expecting it to be a lot higher than this at this time. But I really feel that this is what we need to do moving forward. And it's open to our guys, my maintenance guys. They are aware now of some of the things they found were stuff that they weren't really told when the building got started what they need to check and how they need to check it and when they need to check it. And like I say, most of our calls are reactive to instances that are happening right now. So I think moving forward here, it's opened up our eyes to what we can do on a regular basis from there on out. The system will continue to be monitored. We have some loggers on the electrical system coming into the school. We were told at one time by DLR, I think, that the electricity, the load was fluctuating so much coming into the building, and that was causing some of the problems. So the city has put some loggers on this to let us know if that is actually a problem that we're having now. Yeah, I can't. It's possible that there could be some issues with it. That is all I got. That's questions? Please.
Just a point or applaud you on this, it makes sense. In the material there, create a position, basically a high school HVAC expert, stay on top of this stuff.
It would be nice that we could use that position throughout the district, for sure.
I think that will be an easy position to fill, though. It seems like especially specialized positions are difficult.
It'll be very difficult to find the right person that would be able to do this. I think it's something else we're gonna have to look at is if we take somebody away from some of the vendors that we're currently using, that's gonna cause problems, possibly getting parts from them. I don't know, I was just told that could be a problem, but, yeah, it'll be tough to find somebody that would be the right person. I think we can get somebody that's experienced and trained, with the basics of the system, and then just putting them in-house and getting them in front of it every day is going to be very beneficial.
Do we have a contingency plan in the meantime, like, if it takes some time to find that position or fill that position, who's gonna maintain that in the meantime?
We'll continue doing it the way we've been doing, we call contractors to help us out with that. So Connect Services have done a lot of work, and through this, we've built a good relationship with BCS Mechanical out of Wichita that they can help us out with too, with the A1. So there's some specialized people that definitely would be involved, but they would help us out when we had something in place too that are, I think, help train.
Sorry, I don't mean to hog it. Is that the
No,
closest
please.
place where there's specialists that can work on this particular system is Wichita? That's the closest?
Pretty much, yeah. I think when the building was built, they were brought in from Colorado, the people to put it together, I believe. But yeah, there's not a lot out here to choose from for sure. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all.
Is there any opportunity to find someone already in our area or within our district and provide the training to them to do that? Or is this such a narrow field that we need to look outside?
I think it'll be beneficial to look outside. I think we could probably send somebody to school and training. I don't think we have anybody right now that I can say that we can send to get this training to help us out. I think we need to find somebody that's already been trained on the basics for sure, and with the newer technology, that would be very beneficial too. So I think if we find somebody, it's hard to say what kind of person it is, but I think we can find them if we advertise it enough. There's people coming from all over the place to come out here.
I just kind of wondered because I know we're pretty successful with offering professional development through our certified staff members. And to look for sort of a grow your own effort to filling positions that are hard for us to fill or attract people to. So I didn't know if maybe there was an opportunity to start thinking about that with the classified staff as well.
Sure, and I don't think we'll close the door to that this is somebody with a pretty specific skill set. You know, I think one of the things John mentioned to me earlier, even though they have systems to measure and monitor, it's not like there's a screen that comes up and says, go open this door, like on your copier, open this door, open this lever, pull out the paper jam. You might have a reading that looks unusual, and the technician has to be knowledgeable enough to know, hey, if that reading, if that temperature's a little off, there may be a part in a unit that's halfway across the building that's causing it. And so they have to really be able to understand that, and having that background and that experience is probably what really makes them really good at their job. So we'll look at all options there, and Dana, in the meantime, we'll continue to contract. But I think another takeaway from this is the high school is 384,000 square feet. We're close to 1.4 million square feet probably with all of our square footage in the district. So we're talking somewhere between and 30% probably of the total square footage of the district. When we opened that building in 2012, we added custodial support, 10, 12, 14 positions, I believe. We added 2 grounds people, but we didn't add any maintenance staff. And so one of the takeaways here is it's going to take some additional staff to maintain that additional square footage. And in this case, that, like John said, it's not like our home air conditioning and central heat and air units. It's a very complicated system, more so than anything we have in any of our other buildings. So we need to match adding that support with that skill set. And but we will give our internal people an opportunity if there'd be a way we can do that. But it's kind of like taking care of your car. You know, when it's brand new, you can go a little while without doing the maintenance on it. And I was pleasantly surprised that $19,000 number was as low as it is. But we don't want to go any longer with not providing the maintenance. And I agree. I think John's right. There's going to be some efficiency savings that will make the cost of this certainly help us with lower energy bills.
And then we are gonna monitor, like I say, on a monthly basis, we're gonna be able to see our utility data. So they'll make Connect will make recommendations to us too, with what they see, they can identify some more efficiencies.
I just presume the way we built the high school with the various academies and sort of sectional areas, that we have separate HVAC basically for each of those areas.
Basically,
Yeah.
but there are some areas that are gonna flow into the others. And then changes, we make changes, not in high school yet, but typically in a school building, it's designed for this setup, and then you start coming in and cutting up classes to make, an extra room here and there, or an extra office. So, that's basically it. But there's air units all throughout the roof, and some of those pictures identify what it looks like up there.
So with some of these sensors, you're going to be able to identify basically a bad performing unit, one that needs repair, or maybe babysit one of the other units.
I think that's the thing, just keeping a better eye on it. So then we've already talked about that in-house, when we go and change filters, look for this, report looks fine.
Well, I appreciate you doing this and letting us know, but I really can't think of anything that would be critical to the learning and the success of that building. The air, whose goes where you work, whatever the season is. The heating and air capability in that building is in every space. So really, it's almost unusable without that being functional and the proper temperatures. So it's pretty critical, even though you really can't see it.
Outside, out of mind, yeah.
That's what it is.
But you know, I want to be real careful too. To my knowledge, there haven't been big problems with temperatures being unbearable. What's happening here is the system isn't working as efficiently as it can, so when one part's not working right, other parts of the system are having to work extra hard to maintain it. And that's not to say that we haven't had, a day when there's been a temperature problem, but I don't want it to be thought that, it's 80 degrees in classrooms up there every day. Because that's not what it is. It's we're paying more in energy costs because the system's not optimized. And there's pieces of it that need to work. And so I really appreciate John's efforts on this too. We'll get there. And so I think we're on the right track.
All right, thank you.
Looks like the next order of business is to consider ratification of the negotiation.
Madam Chair, I move that we
get this level worked out, so. Yeah, did you lose one?
Mark had to go to work, he's sorry.
Well, I, for one, also, since you have this point in the meeting, I express my gratitude and thanks for the commitment, the time, the open communication. It was a good environment for communicating, and I think we were successful this year in acting as a team, both for USD 457 and for the teachers. And I think that paid off too, so. I just want to express my gratitude.
And I echo what you say, Mark. It was a great 2-day process. And I appreciate all the efforts.
Thank you all so much. It really matters that you're involved in this because it affects all of the staff. So I really appreciate the efforts and the time that you took to really think about what was best for the staff, what was best for the district. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of ratifying the negotiated agreement for the 2016-17 school insurance, raise your hand. Okay, we have the negotiated agreements. And we have the community leadership.
That's great to see, that's to find out. One of the things that we looked at doing a little bit with last year, kind of models after a program that KSB does called Leadership for Tomorrow. I think Tim participated in that program last year where board members and administrators go to a series of 5 or 6 different meetings in different communities. They visit school districts, kind of get ideas of how different people are approaching issues across the state. And KSB, Tom Krebs, who's now retired with KSB, but they were really encouraging districts to kind of create a similar type model to use in their community to help community people understand some of the issues that go on in our schools. So this is just a little outline. This is something that I would like to do during this year, and we're going to put a little more detail to it in terms of some dates, but this will probably span a 3 to 4 month period. We want to get about 15 to 20 community people involved, and we'll ask them to give up about 4 evenings and 1 full day that we'll spend in our schools, where they can get into schools, visit classrooms, eat lunch at school, really kind of get the whole experience. And the purpose is transparency for people to see what it's really like. You know, in my job, I'm lucky. I get to be in schools every week, so I have a really good sense for what school is like in 2016. It's been a long time ago since I was in school as a student. I won't give the year, but many, many years ago. So for a lot of the people in our community, they probably envision school looks like it did the last time they were in school. Maybe they visited when their kids were in school, but for a lot of people, it's kind of hard to get past that image, and they may not have had the opportunity to really be there. So the idea here is just to kind of let them know it probably doesn't look exactly like what they remember, and kind of give them an opportunity to experience that firsthand, to get to talk to some of the experts, our teachers, our principals, our administrators, to really learn about what are the issues in our schools these days, and get that firsthand exposure to it. So lastly, we will probably be wanting them to enlist that group to help us as we set some of our priorities, maybe in terms of our budget for next year, if we're able to help them or help develop develop their understanding of what's going on in the district. So probably meet once a month. The reason I'm sharing it with you tonight, if you have thoughts about it, I'd like to hear your feedback. So certainly give me that today, or you give me a call. But also, you'll notice on here that of those 20 members, 7 of them are hopefully, as board members, you'll recruit a person to make the commitment to participate, and somebody that would be good from our community. So we want to get a kind of a broad range of people. My commitment to you is here in the next month, and I'll give you at least a month's notice before we would meet the first time. We'll develop a brochure that has specifics, including dates and times, so when you approach people about maybe doing this, they would know what they were committing to completely. But it gives you a little bit of time to kind of be thinking, there might be somebody good that would be interested. And then some of those other areas, parents will work with principals on coming up with those. I'll talk to the other groups that we'd like to see kind of represented, and we'll kind of handle that part of the recruiting. Although if you have suggestions, please let me know. But that's and of course, board members, you'd be welcome to attend any of these sessions that you'd be interested in. Just information only tonight, just to kind of let you know that's something we're working on.
It sounds like a great opportunity for us to interact with the community and to, we saw with the school representative how they were to school and broader leadership. The next one, that's all that I have for now. Consider approval of revisions to policy JCDD wetlands. First reading.
Yes, ma'am. So first reading about the student policy in regards to weapons. This policy, in the past, and I guess still would, but the primary focus of the weapons policy really deals with possession. The legislator made a change in the law. Basically, it's to take your authority away as a local school board in terms of dealing with air guns. So in the past, you would have authority if you wanted to have an activity that involved air guns. You certainly could have done that as a board. But now, there's the authority to have a weapons violation just for simple possession has been taken away. So we looked at, Randy's looked at this policy and made a revision to address that, and basically still keeping student safety in mind, that if the student has possession of an airsoft gun, there's some parameters there that it has to be securely locked in the vehicle, out of sight. They're not allowed to take it out of the vehicle during the day on our school grounds, but just simply the possession alone is not considered to be a violation of the policy. So I'll ask that you read through that. Again, this is just a first reading for tonight, and this will be on the consent agenda next meeting. Unless there's questions specific, Dr. Dean or Dr. Crum about this.
You mentioned airsoft, but it's .18 caliber or less, so that pretty much, I don't think that's airsoft, I think that's smaller.
Air gun and air rifle are both defined in the policy.
And it's correct that this policy change is being proposed specifically to address a new law that was passed by the legislature.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Any other questions? Moving on to board open discussion. Anybody have anything to discuss?
I just don't want to miss this opportunity to just to point out that Heath and KJ and their work on negotiations was pleasurable to work with them on the negotiation process, because they were loaded with information, and so it really facilitated the process. Kudos to them. And since I said that, Renee in her presentation up here was pretty impressive, that But anyway, it's just a bottom line is we've got good staff, good leadership here at 457. And can't go without saying that. So,
Mark, I appreciate that, and I want to throw something in there too. Like, last year, one of the times Renee and I met, we were looking at our data about math. You know, we're implementing a new curriculum. We're asking our teachers to teach more than just the procedural part of math, the application and the conceptual levels. And that's different for a lot of our people. And you know, in a day and age where we didn't have a lot of resources, that was one of the things. And so I think when that grant opportunity came about, Renee demonstrated some wonderful leadership. You know, yeah, K-State's good to work with, but they wouldn't want to work with us if they didn't have something on this end that caught their attention too. So Renee, thank you for your work with that, because this is really important for our teachers, and that support that they need, because you see the passion in what our teachers want to do. They want to do the best thing they can for kids, but we learn more and more about how kids learn, and teachers need that support to be able to continue to put that new research and that new information into practice, and this is one of those ways to do it sometimes.
We have to find a way to not have to say no 4 times. It's already been acknowledged, but it deserves to be acknowledged again, because that is so important. To have a teacher want to learn and be told no, I mean, I'm so glad we did that. It's awesome.
yeah, you know, the passion is there with the teachers. It's just organizing and giving them the opportunity to broaden their horizons and their skills. And boy, that seems to be very effective and a great opportunity. And golly, even have a representative from the college saying, hey, you know, when I talk to student teachers, I heard her right.
Yeah.
457 is the spot she references. Pretty cool.
I attended the school finance conference in Topeka, along with KJ and Dr. Fallon. It was a pretty good informational session. A lot of good information was shared. We're learning a little bit more about the formula that the governor's considering, not specifics, but the general concepts behind the formula. And Dr. Carlin, I guess, has received an invitation. It's pretty impressive to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, really the district, and that particular day, the governor held a press conference where he announced that he was soliciting input across the state about ideas about school finance and school funding, and I received an email about 1:30 that day, and I thought probably that email went out to superintendents all across the state. As I talked to a few others in the room that day, they didn't get the email, so I just chalked it up to, well, they're gonna, probably theirs is coming in a wave and it hasn't got to them yet. But that night I saw on the news that there were about 20 different groups that were singled out, and USD 457 was one of those. So, although everybody in the state's been asked, and the method of submitting the proposal is the same for everybody, anybody can certainly provide input. We were contacted directly by the governor's office, so I've talked with Gene a little bit about this, and I think we think it would be important that as a district, we do prepare a response with our feedback. Gene had, I think, a pretty good idea. We found out that our peers, Dodge City and Liberal, weren't included in the invitation, but certainly we look a lot alike in southwest Kansas with our neighboring districts in terms of our size and our student makeup and what our communities are like. So one option would be to engage them in part of that conversation, and I think our deadline is November 30th. So that is something that we'll be working on. I don't think we have to
novel.
Right, but I think what this kind of all ties in for me is that the focus from Topeka is on our district. And so it's really incredibly important that we communicate well with them, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how meaningful it is to the students in our district. We've done some great things here. We heard so many scores of them tonight. And those things need to go forward because a lot of them can be replicated other places. But I think, for him to have that particular example in his own comments it tells me that they're following our district pretty closely. So I really appreciate that, but I think it's also a big responsibility on our part to make sure that we communicate with them as well, so that they're fully informed of how meaningful what they do is to us, so to our kids.
Kind of to follow what you're saying, and something that I brought up at that conference was, we need to be incentivized to be innovative because of what you just said. We need our kids to have exposure to different things, a culinary department, for example, that you brought up. So the technology that we've talked about, how kids learn differently. The desk example, how desks look different when we were students versus how they look now. Now they're nice and neat with the laptop and a phone. So I think that needs to be part of the piece somehow. I don't know exactly how. But I also wanted to say too, it's going to be really hard for any of us to complain about the formula if we don't put input in. And so I think we've been charged with the duty of giving our input, and that's an honor, and we need to take that seriously.
Well, I'm sure we will, but even with the professor or teacher consultant that we have here, I heard comments about recommending people look at our district. That's great, and it's all attributed to your hard work because you set the stage, and now things are falling into place. It's a great job for you and your administrative team. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I served on the KASB nominating committee on Saturday, and there was one applicant. It was Patrick Woods, that I think some of you may know from the Topeka area. He's an outstanding candidate. That's the person who will be voting on. That's the annual convention in December, so.
That's going to be here soon.